Hey everybody, this is Heidi of Free to Just Be Me. I assume that you've clicked on this channel because you want to know what it's like to work in a prison, maybe specifically to be the librarian, because that is what I am. So I've been thinking about doing a channel like this for a couple of years now, because that's how long I've been working in this prison. Because whenever you go to do any job, whenever you're looking to be a teacher or a doctor or whatever, you need to know, and nowadays with the internet, of course, you can find that out, day in the life of whatever, at any time of the day. You just, click in, type in something. So I was trying to do research on this a couple of years ago, and I had, seen the ad posting. I'm like, hey, that's weird. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I'd be good at it. Just a lot of questions. And went online, went on YouTube, of course, and I couldn't find anything. I found a few articles written by people, and they were all several years old, but they were men and working at men's prisons, or jails. So there was really nothing I could relate to, because now that I am here, or not here, this is my house, but now that I am working at a women's prison, we all know that men and women are different, but you just don't realize the different struggles and issues and emotional ebbs and flows, that make dealing with women, 1,300 of them on a regular basis, a challenge, and just different than with men. So this is a brief introductory video. I want to do a whole lot more, and I hope you stick with me. I hope you subscribe, and I've sparked some sort of interest, some sort of curiosity in you, whether you're looking at possibly a career in corrections, or you've got somebody on the inside right now. You've got a friend, a relative, and you're curious, like, what are they going through? What's it like in there? And you can visit, but you really just don't know unless you are doing the time. You don't know. Or if you're just a person curious and just wondering, another subject I will get into later is issues with the justice system, the pros, the cons, the whatever. And so I want to provide a little bit of a little peek into that. So hopefully you'll stick with me. I'll give you a brief overview of what being a prison librarian is right now. And then, like I said, we'll go into other videos further on if you subscribe to me. So, first of all, I am non-security staff. So non-security staff, we're kind of low on the totem pole. Security is number one, whatever prison you are at. Like, I don't want to give too much out, but it is a women's prison, and I'm in the South. Let's just stick with that for now. There are lots of programs that are required. You have to have an education department. People come in there with very little reading ability. Some basically illiterate. You have to teach them. They have teachers who will get them up to speed, and then they will have GED testing, and so they can get their GED. And there are vocational programs. They will teach them different trades, different vocations. So there's things that they are required to have, and a library is one of those things they're required to have, even though some of the officers don't agree with that. But security is very important, and so you walk in. Everyone who works there, you walk through security every morning. Big X-ray machine, big conveyor belt. You put your bag on, clear bag. Can't bring a person. As a woman, we want to bring our person. Can't do that. So everything goes through security. And another thing I will get into more in further videos, but security is not so great. They're not so great. They don't do the job they're supposed to, and so people abuse that. Officers and staff can abuse that, bring in contraband, and it just makes all sorts of problems for inmates and staff. So we'll get into contraband. Contraband is just basically things you aren't supposed to have, whether it's the staff member or the inmate. So it's just things it doesn't mean necessarily drugs or guns. It's just things that you aren't allowed to have inside. So I'll talk about that in another video. But you go through, take your shoes off. It's kind of like the airport. And they never sweep that floor. It's just so dirty. Anyway, go through security, and I go get my keys and open up the library. So I have, at any given time, around a dozen clerks who work for me, and they do all the work. They shelve the books, they check out the books to other people, they do inventory, they basically run it. And that's one of the things that I never know, that nobody really tells you. I never knew, of course, before I started working in a prison, is that the inmates do everything. They run the place, except for, I have tons of paperwork, reports, records, logs of everything. The government cannot work. They cannot run without paperwork, right? So that's on me, obviously, because I have to have a computer and I have to have access to certain files, which the inmates can't. But beyond that, they clean, they organize, they move things around. I literally could just sit on my ass and have them do all my work for me, which some people do. And so that was kind of different from any other job, right? You go to any other job and you may have a custodial staff and other people working around you, but you can't really just sit on your ass and do nothing all day and have other people do it for you and get paid. That's dream job, right? Well, some people in corrections, it definitely is. So, but I'm really not like that. I don't think that way. So I don't abuse that privilege with my girls, with my clerks. So I have them, they basically run the library. And it can be so boring. It could be so crazy. Like I said, I want to do a whole series of these and have a different topic every day, because it's just so much. And it's one of those things, like when you go to a party, you go to a new place and you introduce yourself, and that's the thing, like, oh, what do you do? And that, that's just kind of like your what do you call it? Your elevator speech, where you sum it up in 20 seconds or less, something like that. And as soon as I say I'm a prison librarian, the faces of the people are just like, I can imagine all the things running through their brains. So they have a lot of questions, but it's like they don't know how to put them. They just want to know, like, what the fuck is that like? Excuse my French. I'm prone to drop F-bombs once in a while. But yeah, so there's a lot to it. It's just the whole correctional industry, I guess you call it, is so different than any job I've ever had. I worked in a whole nother industry for many years, almost 20 years. Left that, started my own shop, had my own business for a few years, which COVID kind of just messed that up. And then I saw this ad for working in a prison. And I said, hey, I love books, obviously. I used to hang out in the library when I was growing up. I was that kid. I was that nerd. So I figure that's a very comfortable place for me to be, even if it's an otherwise uncomfortable situation, as meaning it's in a prison, surrounded by criminals, right? But so that's why, I got into it and I chose it. And I'm still, every day, I'm learning things every day. There's something new happens every day. And it just, I started keeping like little notes and like a little diary of just how insane this is, or how cool this is, and just all sorts of different information and different events that happen. And I hope to share that all with you. So if you'll stick around with me, if you'll subscribe, or at least, I'm glad you haven't clicked off by now. So I will see you another day. Again, this is Heidi, free to be just me, and welcome.